Recording is initiated. Yeah. Yes, sir. We can start.
Yeah. Good evening, all the participants. My friends, thank you very much for this meeting that you have come in. Good evening, all of you. Now here we go. Today we are starting introduction to Kena Upanishad in the series of our sessions about all the top 10 Upanishads that we started 2 weeks ago, and we have completed 2 sessions, and this is session number 3 in the series. So we have series of sessions going on for 10 weeks. Now in this third week, we are talking about Kena Upanishad, and this is a small Upanishad. It will take about 20 minutes. But before we go into the Upanishad per se, I would seek your permission to narrate 2 or 3 experiences of mine which have relevance to the discovery of the supreme power which I have experienced in my life. My experience number 1, when I was about 15 years old, I was learning swimming, and we used to learn swimming in a river nearby, Godavari, and on a one fine day, instead of going to the river, we had gone to a well which was full of water, and the water was almost brimming to the top of the well, and I jumped into that. After a while, I lost my way and unable to swim. I was almost sinking, and a friend of mine, Lakshman, who was there nearby, jumped into the well and gave me a hand by which I could come out. My experience number 2, when I was about 35 years old, I was coming and with a friend of mine, KSP Rao, when I was working in Andhra Pradesh paper mills. Mr. KSP Rao was riding, and I was on the back of the scooter. We were coming from Malkajgiri in Hyderabad, and somewhere on the road, he was on a high speed and he had hit the road divider. Both of us fell, and so badly that we became unconscious. We became unconscious, and from 10 p.m. in the night to 5:30 a.m. next day morning, we were on the road. Somebody, some unknown person, brought us to Woodlands Hospital in Barkatpura from Malkajgiri Road, dropped us there, and without revealing his name, without revealing his car number, he went away. He just handed over 2 bodies, we were unconscious, to the hospital and went away. Later on, the hospital people found that I broke my leg, left leg, and KSP Rao was bruised. They had done some plastic surgery to him, and to me, it was a major orthopedic operation which I underwent for the following 8 to 10 weeks before I could recover, and that's how the experience was. The third experience was when I was 48 years old. I finished my working stint at Kenya in Nairobi city, and I came back to India, and some calling came, and I decided to leave the corporate career, which was a very handsome job and doing very well, big money, facilities. I was almost director marketing of an international company. And some calling came, and I decided to shift to academics, did my research, and then I've been a professor, principal, and that's what you're seeing me now. In all these 3 experiences, I profoundly felt that there is some invisible hand which played its role in taking me through. Otherwise, the situation was different, and I developed a very strong conviction. Mr. Niranjan may have perceived by now in our 20 years of interaction that there is an invisible force which is driving our lives. Now, Kena Upanishad is about understanding that driving force, the Brahman, or the supreme conscience. The supreme conscience is not about the 3 crores of gods man has created. Mukkoti Devatalu that we say. We are not talking of these 3 crores of gods that man has created. We are talking of God of gods. All these gods worship only one God. That is the supreme conscience, the Brahmin. So today we are dealing with Kena Upanishad. First, I will explain the meaning of Kena, because Upanishad meaning was already explained earlier. And Kena means what, why, and when, how. These kind of inquiring words are represented by Kena. In Sanskrit, Kena means what, why, and how. Now, in this entire Kena Upanishad, it is a dialogue between the teacher and the disciple. Teacher on one side, disciple on the other side. The disciple would ask several questions to the teacher, and teacher would clarify those doubts. That's all Kena Upanishad is about. And Kena Upanishad contains 13 verses, hymns, 15 paragraphs in prose form, and 6 epilogues, which are final summaries. So 13 hymns, 15 paragraphs, which are text form, and 6 epilogues, which are summaries of these things. Now, all this matter has been divided into 4 sections. Each section is called Khanda, Khanda. Khanda. Khanda means a section. Khanda in Punjab is different. It's a symbol of the religious text. But here, rest of India, Khanda means a part of a text, a chapter, things like that. So we have 4 Khandas in Kena Upanishad. And the first Khanda starts with nature of the human knowledge. Now, the human beings, ever since we are born, we are acquiring knowledge about this nature, the people around, the companies that we work, our gurus, starting from our mother, father, friends, gurus, and so on. We have been learning about this society, about this nature. All that we are learning in this materialistic world is avidya. It is not vidya relating to the supreme conscience. It is the vidya relating to the prakriti, not purusha. So all the knowledge that you acquire about prakriti will give you facility to live well in this materialistic world. And we have to know about it. We have to make all the rings, ring number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and n around our central Atma and Paramatma hidden in us, that we explained in the previous, I think the first session we had explained this. Therefore, man is continuously trying to travel from inward to outward. And we also recommended that we all should learn to travel from outside to things. So in that journey, all the knowledge that we acquire is avidya, because avidya, don't take it in the negative sense. Only the Upanishadic language calls it avidya, but for us in the day-to-day life, it is vidya. It is the education. I'm learning about IC engines. I'm learning about electrical machines. I'm learning break-even analysis, Laplace transformation, theories of motivation. All that I'm learning is meant for running my life, leading my life in this materialistic world, in this physical world. So we are not talking of this physical world alone. We are talking of the metaphysical world headed by the Supreme Brahmin. So once we are able to traverse into the metaphysical world, the whole thing unfolds. A different world unfolds before us, and Kena Upanishad invites us, takes us into the metaphysical world. And that mystic world where we transcend the religions, we transcend all the 3 crores of gods we have created. Beyond that, we touch base with a supreme conscience who is the ultimate, who is alpha and gamma, who has no birth, who has no time at all, who has no end, who has no start. He is the all-pervasive, omnipresent, and everything. So now this knowledge that we are acquiring in this physical world, a small physical world is just a small fraction compared to metaphysical world, which all of us must transcend and see what it is all about. Now, beyond this knowledge of physical world, when we go on acquiring this knowledge, there is also that knowledge of metaphysical world building into us. Now, let us call it, just to understand between you and us, between our local day-to-day language, let us call it as wisdom. A third sense. All of us have that experience of taking extraordinary decisions using our third sense, not using the computer printouts or the avidya that we have accumulated over the years from class 1 to class N that we have studied so far. We have accumulated so much of the knowledge about the Prakriti around us, but simultaneously we are also building an intellect, a sixth sense, a third eye. Now, discovery of the third eye, the more you discover it, more you are traveling inside, more you are discovering the Supreme Conscience, more you are able to detach from this Prakriti, detach from this physical world, and move into the metaphysical world. Okay, a lot of questions will be there, sir, how to do it? I've been trying to do it. मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, and it is all a theoretical discourse, but I am yet to find it. No. While the question is right, but the answer is, it is the self-discovery and it is specific to every individual. And therefore, the second part of the knowledge which accrues to you, which builds in you, in the process of acquiring this physical knowledge about the Prakriti, is what is called Vidya. That Vidya is the one which helped me to survive in my first accident, the first example which I cited, the second example which I cited, the third example which I gave you, the invisible force I was able to invoke without my knowledge, without any conscious effort, as a G, just pray and pray and pray. And if you really pray without placing any demands on the God or the Supreme Conscience, there is something which is some change which is happening in you. And that has happened to many, many people. And it can happen to us also. And we have to firmly believe, and it is a truth, it is experienced, proven by many, many people. Satya Sai is one of them. You won't believe, I lived in ashram for 3 years when I was working for Sanskriti School of Business and Sanskriti School of Engineering in Puttaparthi. 1 week before going to Puttaparthi, every night I used to get a dream that there are heaps of coins. You know, those days it used to be a 10 rupee coin, 5 rupee coin, all these coins which used to be heaped up in front of the Satya Sai Nigamagama, which is lying besides my house. I live in Shivam Road, which is adjoining my house. My building is adjoining Satya Sai Nigamagama. And continuously in that previous week, I used to get a dream that I have encountered heaps of, I used to carry, my wife used to give me an empty bag, and I used to go and fill up those bags and get it back. And I would also watch if anybody is watching me carrying these things and all. So the reason I had gone to Puttaparthi was to generate funding for my son's education in America, which a lot of my friends, including Mr. Niranjan, are aware. So it is. I can't forget that example. It is the proof. It is a proof which I have experienced that there is that supreme conscience, and if you really invoke with all your metaphysical knowledge, with all your senses, with all your trance, in a deep trance, if you we call it transcendental meditation. In a transcendental meditation, for half an hour when you meditate and forget this world, just keep chanting some mantra, some word, something, and you will experience a world which is not this physical world. Now, those are the kind of experiences which many of us, or all of us, would have in whichever religion that we are. I'm sure that is. Now, this is about the knowledge that we accumulate. The point that I'm making, just to underline, is all the knowledge and information that we are gathering is about this Prakriti and these physical aspects. And in the process, there is building in us a metaphysical knowledge, an intellect, a third eye, which we must foster, enlarge, experience, and move towards discovery of God. It's nothing else. It's nothing that you switch on, or you go to gurus and get a, worship your guru or any of the gods for years together. You will not experience the supreme conscience. You will experience the supreme conscious by invoking the intellect which is lying within you. That wisdom is already building in us, absolutely building in us, and we only need to discover the other part of us. We are busy about the first part of us, which is first circle, second circle, nth circle, because we are busy making money, into the physical world. We have to give, and we have no choice. We are getting busier and busier. Nobody has any time, and it's all about money, politics, crimes in this world that we are seeing. So to save ourselves from this is the question that we are all encountering, and then we are trying to live somehow in this rotten world. But there is also the other side of us which we need to identify, delve into, and discover, that is self-discovery. So this is about the first kanda, first part. The Kena Upanishad is talking about the knowledge of human beings as divisible into two parts, physical and metaphysical. Now the verse 4 in Kena Upanishad is talking about this supreme conscience. Now, since childhood, we are aware of, we are taught, we have worshipped certain gods, and we only know that these gods whom we have created are the gods. Seldom, very scarcely, anybody would think that there is a supreme conscience above all these 3 crores of gods, and that's only one. For all these living creatures, non-living entities, living entities, who has created everything, there's only one supreme power, which is the supreme conscience, which is the Brahman. Are we talking about? Here, I would like to detour a bit and invite you into one small discussion about one important thing that we must recognize here. I had done a course in Madras Christian College, and that course is called theology. Okay, so we have theology and theosophy. Very clearly, kindly appreciate. Number 1 is theology. Number 2 is theosophy. Theology is ways and means of discovering the gods, study of gods, worshipping the gods, which were told to us in the hymns in several Vedas. And incidentally, this Kena Upanishad is coming from Samaveda, 50% from Samaveda, and large part of it from Atharvana Veda. The end portions of these 2 Vedas is compiled into Kena Upanishad. So we are talking of the metaphysical world and the ways of discovering the supreme conscience, but we are only aware of the theology. Theology means ways and means, studies, explorations about the gods whom we have created. It could be anybody. I would not like to name and draw any religious controversy, because religion is also a man-made evil, like caste, as far as I am concerned. I could be right or wrong, I don't know, but then I would not like make any judgment. But the point is, theology is the science of the study of gods. Now, theosophy is the discovery of the supreme conscience. That's why Jiddu Krishnamurti, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, Madam Blavatsky, they had set up the first theosophical society in India, set up at Adyar in Chennai, and even today, the theosophical society in India, in Adyar, Chennai, is very famous. So I was fortunate to be associated with certain people. A little bit of a fraction of a flavor of that I could get, and therefore I was able to understand very clearly the theology and the theosophy. So let's not get confused. Theology is the study of the gods that we know, we created, our religions and so on. Theosophy is the study of the supreme conscience. Now, verse number 4 in Kena Upanishad is talking about the Brahman, the supreme conscience, which cannot be described. It says you cannot worship that power. The process of worship and prayers and all these religious things that we do is for the gods whom we have created. But this one, this Brahman, is above all that. There's no worship. You can't worship and place any demands. Let my daughter's marriage happen very soon, my God. Let me be a millionaire and billionaire and so on. These kind of, it's all stupid. So he's shapeless. He's indescribable. And it is just a power. I don't think the Oxford Dictionary has any word in the entire range of words that it can describe or it can name that conscience which we are talking about. So that is within you, but fortunately that Brahman is within you. So this was the first kanda, the nature of knowledge and the nature of the supreme conscience. He is alpha and gamma. He is not describable. He need not be worshipped. He cannot be worshipped. He will not give you any powers or any alms or any things that you pray and get it that we do in day to day. No, it's beyond all that. Now, second kanda, the first kanda is over. The second kanda is about self-awakening, the awakening of spiritual man in you. While we are very busy with the outward journey, it is about becoming a spiritual person inside. Last time when somebody was asking me, sir, how to detach? I have to love my child, I have to love my husband, I have to love my wife, all this family and all this is there. My instant answer, right or wrong, was that you have to have a dual personality. An outside person who is into this physical world, who will do all the grihasthashrama dharma that is prescribed for you. You have to do it and do it well. Nobody is asking you to renounce this world and go to Himalayas. No, our theory is that you be here, do your day-to-day activities well. You do all kinds of things which are within the law of the land, no problem. But we are also talking of the detachment and the second person who's inside in you, who is a spiritual person. And once you understand the spiritual person and link up yourself with the supreme conscience that we talked in the first chapter, then your journey inward has begun. So the second kanda, which is a prose, is all about inward journey. Now the third and fourth kanda are basically the commentaries, the allegories. And in third kanda, there is an interesting story. Once there was a war between gods and demons, suras and asuras. There was a war and asuras were defeated, gods won. When the gods won, the supreme conscience became very pleased and he appeared before them and asked them what they want. They said, we are equally powerful and we have Agni among us. He will prove to you how powerful we are. Agni went to the Supreme Conscience and Supreme Conscience had put a small leaf before him and asked him to burn. Agni could not burn. Agni had gone back. Vayu came. The Brahmin wanted him to move that small leaf with all his power. Vayu could not. Vayu went back, and Indra came. Indra was also incapable of doing anything, and besides them, there was a feminine character called Uma, U-M-A, Uma, and recognizing their potential, the Supreme Brahmin gave them extraordinary powers and gave them the status of the second level of gods. He being the first level in the triangular organization of gods, if you see the hierarchy of gods, the ultimate, the supreme conscience, the next to him, according to Kena Upanishad, is Agni, Vayu, and Indra. So this is, the three gods and one goddess story that we have. The commentaries which were available on Kena Upanishad talk about this chapter 3, which is just this example and nothing more. In the epilogue, which is last epilogue, the only one concept which is talked about is the shapelessness, timelessness, and endlessness of the supreme conscience. Shapelessness, timelessness, endlessness of the supreme conscience.
Dr. Barla garu, my voice, I think your instrument is kept on hold or something like that. We are not able to hear you. Are you there? Hello? Dr. Barla garu? Hello?
అంతే దొడ్డ ఆకేమాగే ఇచ్చింది వేసుకోవాలని.
And we go for question answer. Yeah, thank you very much, and sorry for the interruption. Yeah, participants, my apologies. Got heated up and they got disconnected. I've come back. Thank you very much for your patient waiting. Now, in the last part, which is last skanda, which is Mr. Niranjan, am I audible?
Your voice is getting stuck. Your voice is getting stuck. Mr. Shabir Basha garu, please, can I ask you to mute yourself, please? Dr. Shabir Basha garu, please mute yourself.
Is it fine now?
Fair enough, but still there is a break which is happening in the voice.
Okay, we go for question and answers. I finished my thing.
So no problem. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. We are able to hear you.
Let's go for question and answers.
You want us to go for the question and answers?
Yeah, question and answers.
So I'm sending a message here for everybody. In case you have questions, please do type in. Request all the participants to put up your questions. This could be a discussion for us. We can spend time, 15-20 minutes in this. It will be good if we can have an interaction or related to Kena Upanishad, or you have any kind of a clarifications. Please do make it. Dr. Venkat Barla garu is here to address the issues.
Niranjan, I have a question. Anand here.
Yeah, Anand, please go ahead.
I wish to know. Hello, Mr. Sir. How are you, sir? Hope you are doing well.
Yeah, very good. Anand.
I have met you once along with Niranjan. I hope you remember me.
Yeah. That is true. I remember.
Yeah, sir. The question I have is there are so many Upanishads. We know that for other scriptures like Mahabharata and Ramayana, there are specific author names are given. What I would like to know is who is the author for each Upanishad? How was it written?
Yeah. Upanishads are not written by anybody. Upanishads, like all the four Vedas, were heard from along with the four Vedas. In fact, each Upanishad is a part of one Veda or the other, and they were heard from the heavens by Rishis and Maharishis. And Vedavyasa compiled the Vedas, as we know. And in such a compilation process, the compilation of Upanishads also has happened, because Upanishads are the last part of the Vedas. Now, Yagnavaikalya and Madhavacharya and Shankaracharya later on wrote commentaries on these Upanishads, but the original texts of Upanishads are part and parcel of Vedas. Vedas were heard from the heavens by Rishis, and the first compiler was Vedavyasa. That's all we can that much if we understand, it will be okay. Andgaru. Nice meeting you after a long time. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone else?
Are there any further questions so that we can make this session as interactive as possible? And it will be a wonderful learning experience for all of us. So in case you have any specific questions, please do go ahead. Not necessarily.
I would like to, I would like to leave one last few lines of this session, which I could not because of the disruption. May I say?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Did we lose him again?
By which eye can see, by which ear can hear, by which speech can speech, and by which mind can think. That is the power behind which the supreme conscience, which we can understand. That's over to you, Mr. Niranjan.
Actually, we lost you, sir. I was not able to hear you throughout the last bit. That is, I couldn't hear. I'm not sure whether others were able to hear your voice, the last comments or not.
Anyway, anyone else can ask a question?
No, sir. The previous point, we heard only the last 4 lines. The eyes can see and the ears can hear. before the first part we missed out actually. Could you please repeat the first part?
By which, the first part is epilogue. The fourth Khanda talks about timelessness of the supreme conscience, which have no beginning, which have no ending, which have no shape. He is the Alpha and Gamma. He is the ultimate power. That is a summary in the fourth Khanda. And in the final lines, it reads, by which the eye can see, by which the ear can hear, by which speech can speak, by which mind can think. That power is the supreme conscience. Thank you very much. Over to Niranjan.
Yeah, I think this is better now. Many of them were not able to hear. I think now it's time for us to ask Mr. Venkat Garu, Venkat Rahul Garu, you want to ask something?
Sir, actually,
Yeah, Venkat. Yeah, Venkat, tell me, Rahul.
so sir, I heard a one-liner from the University of Hyderabad's logo, and it says, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. That is, education is that which liberates. Now, one crucial part of what you have been speaking about is avidya. Is there some connection between these two? This Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye is borrowed from the Mandukya Upanishad, and it translates to education is one that liberates. So how are these two connected?
Yes, Rahul, that's a very good question. Savidya Vimuktaye, the very good question. The Vidya that it is talking about is not the education that we undergo in our schools and colleges. It is not the knowledge of the Prakriti. The Vidya that he is talking about is the Vidya of the Purusha. Purusha is the supreme conscience. So, as we go on acquiring knowledge of this nature, this physical and metaphysical, the physical world, I said in the first Khanda that the metaphysical knowledge is also building in us. It goes on accumulating like your bank account, and the day you see it, the day you understand, which we in our language we can call it as a wisdom, just a most simplified version of that metaphysical knowledge. Let's call it as a wisdom, the intellect, the third eye. If we can gather the meaning of these words, that is the Vidya which leads to Mukti. So the Vidya that we get, of course, through the avidya that we undergo, we transcend to Vidya, real Vidya, the knowledge, the wisdom, the third eye, intellect. As we go on increasing this metaphysical wisdom, that leads to the Vimukti. That's what this verse is saying, as far as I can understand, because we are corporate people, we are not from the Vedic scholarship. We don't know the Sanskrit shlokas and Ardha Tatparyas of those shlokas also. We have to explain our limitation. But yes, to the extent the corporate executives can understand and relate to their business and day-to-day life, we thought we will be able to transmit whatever little understanding we have, but don't perceive us as the scholars. We are like you and any corporate executive. I was general manager, I was director marketing, and I did all this zigzag thing in the corporates. But we would like to discover this knowledge. That's how these sessions are arranged by Mr. Niranjan. Thank you, Rahul. Good question. Thank you very much.
I have a question, Dr. Barla Garu.
Yes, Dilip. Yes, sir, Dilip Garu.
Sir, I will just state what my understanding is. You can correct me if I'm right or wrong. You know, the first thing which I understand is that if we are operating through mind, the I comes in between. You know, You're reinforcing the I. When we talk of transcending the mind, so which means we are not using our senses, the eyes, the ears, the taste and touch, all those things. But once we transcend the mind, then you lose what is me and what is not me. I mean, it becomes all pervasive. So we are trying to understand something which is all pervasive through a tool which we are already inbuilt with a tool as a body. So how to break out of this, The language is tuned to, language is the biggest corrupter in this case of mind, so of my understanding. So how do we come out of this? Because all the language is tuned to that way of thinking, It is tuned to the mind more than to transcending the mind. That's the language we are communicating with. So how do you come out of this dichotomy?
Yeah, I understand your question. It's a very good question, relevant to all of us. I think this important question should be explored. But today, within the limited time, what I could explain, I would share my views, Dilip Garu. Excellent question. Thank you very much. Now, when you do puja, when you do recite those mantras, if we talk of Hindus or Christian or Allahi, whatever it is, when you go on chanting, you will reach a stage where those moments where you forget all these things. You have no feelings, you have no world around, and for a moment you suddenly realize that you were somewhere, and then you have come back to this world. And those moments are the transcends. Those moments are the times, little fractions of times, which can be enlarged by meditation. People who do deep meditation, transcendental meditation, they would tell us that it is possible to enlarge those thoughtlessness, moments of thoughtlessness, where you have no body, you have no feelings, you have no mind. And that is the sadhana, and yoga is one tool we have. And there is proof that people have been able to reach that stage, experience those moments, and larger amount of time. Ramakrishna Varu is one person who used to experience those moments, and he has written very well about it in his life history. So it is possible to, through these senses, it is possible to forget these senses by prayer and prayer and prayer, like Meera did, like Potana did, like many people whom in the last 1,000 years, only if we see, there are a lot of people who Tulsi Ramayana, for example, she did it, Tulsi Das did it, and these kind of people were able to forget these five senses, transcend beyond, and experience those moments, and feel the unionization with the supreme power. That is possible in this world, and human beings, many human beings have written, experienced, and written about this particular possibility. And all of us who are sitting here may have, in whichever religion you worship, may have experienced moments of thoughtlessness. I am sure. Absolutely, I am sure. If not possible, you can practice transcendental meditation, where you take one word, any 3-syllable word or 2-syllable word or 1-syllable word. Let's say Rama, 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 or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Go on reciting for 1,000 times, 10,000 times. There will be a stage where you have forgotten these physical senses and physical world, and you are momentarily there into something else. So it is possible, Dilip Garu, and the literature is telling us and the sadhana and the thing is what we are talking about, and we are learning that it is possible to acquire those stages. And mythology is telling all the rishis who did the penance, what did they do it for? Valmiki did so much penance for what? And he did it, he realized the God, and God talked to him, God talked to Potana. The goddess Saraswati came into dreams and talked to Potana, and Potana wrote the Bhagavata. Like that, we have mythological evidences, and also evidences in this. Mahatma Gandhi wrote quite a lot about the power of meditation. Satya Sai Varu wrote quite a lot about this power, and it is possible to transcend from the physical world into metaphysical world. All that I am saying is that. Thank you very much. Over to you, Niranjan Garu.
Yeah, thank you. Venkat Rahul Garu, you wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
Sir, what I say here might already be known to a lot of you learned men, and it might appear very off topic at the initial stages. But physics was earlier called natural philosophy. And whatever technology, whatever we are being taught today in schools, in our current education system, which Venkat sir is referring to, is all about understanding the nature around us. Applying intellect. Intellect is all about rational. Understanding the world around us with rational. And it so happened that through so much of 30 to 40 years of, or maybe even 60 years of being seeped into that, seeking the reason for every thought, every deed around us, I think we have somewhere lost our touch with something bigger, which is the consciousness sir has been talking about. Now, I still am to a great extent also this rational seeker for literally everything that I observe around me and I do as part of my work. I think a couple of books changed my perspective and told me that there is something bigger and there is something more fundamental in the nature around me that I cannot understand or whatever. And for the moment, I think I'm calling that and that aspects, all the set of aspects, those aspects that I'm not able to understand as God. I do not know if that is a correct approach to being a theologist or a theosophy practitioner. But when I play the mridangam or when I sit down to practice something, that's what happens. I lose consciousness about the world around me, but I still continue to exist. Now, mathematics and physics, the way they have been created today, it is about associating a set of symbols that we have created based on certain axioms, basic axioms for the numbers, real numbers, rational numbers, and whatnot, to explain the physical phenomena that we see around us. And I think just confining ourselves to that restricted ambience is a very, very big challenge to cross over. And I think this is the kind of sessions that help us either get to more resources or get to know more people who can help us get over those speed breakers.
So maybe I could include some of my experiences here. Dilip Garu, for your question, how do we transcend this?
Speak louder, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Please speak louder.
Is my voice audible? No?
No, you speak louder, please.
Actually, I'm speaking quite loud.
Yeah. To me, it's audible, Niranjan. It's audible.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
So what I am experienced, because what Dr. Barla was also saying, that the saints are there who spend a lot of time. You can take up any mantra and then do your regular chanting of the things and rest of the other things. But before we get into the mantra part of it, we should experience it in a way where we have to be aware of what is it that we want to experience. This is the key. We want to transgress this body, the physical body. If I want to transgress this physical body, which is involved with all the five senses, especially the biggest block are two things which I would identify over a period of experiences and then workings. Number one is about physical body. That is one of our limitations. The number two, when I'm saying physical body, it includes the physical environment. It includes the state of my panchakosha, which is existing. Now, the second part, which is one of the biggest hindrances, is our ego. Two things which really stop us from transcending ourselves to higher levels. How are we able to do that? I think the question is that we should look at levels. మీరు ప్రేమికుల్ని చూడండి, ఎవరినైనా వారిద్దరిది ఒకటే మనసు ఉంటుంది. వారికి ఏం కావాలో ఈమెకి తెలుస్తుంది, ఈమెకి ఏం కావాలో వాడికి తెలుస్తుంది. How is it possible? Just think about it once again. Think about a coach. Think about a coach in sports. Think about a coach and his team player. Like it's being beautifully shown if you watch these movies called as the Chak De India. Please watch it once again. There is no physical communication that is happening. Not even a single word is being uttered. But the communication goes to the player to stand where they are. This is possible only and only when we are in sync. And how do we bring this sync in will be the next question which we have to address. The fundamental thing to address this particular sync is bring that awareness. What is it that I want to look at? Do I want to look at this person or the supreme consciousness which is there to sync myself with it? That's the key. If that awareness is not there in the mind, in our being completely, we will never be able to break this body bondage. We will never be able to make it. We will be able, this I'm sharing, okay, with touchwood, with all the due respects to everybody. We will never be able to do it as long as we see it in the physical form, in the form of a body. We have to fall in love with supreme consciousness. ఒక చిన్న పిల్లగాడు అమ్మని ఎలా ప్రేమిస్తాడో, ఒక చిన్న పిల్లవాడు తన అమ్మ లేకుంటే ఎలాగెలాగైతే గిలగిల కొట్టుకుంటాడో, the way he is going to throb, cry to be with his mother, for example. That is the kind of a passion one needs to have if you want to experience the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Consciousness మనం కనెక్ట్ చేయాలి అంటే మన లోపల తపన అంత ఉండాలి. మన లోపల ఆ తపన లేదనుకుందాం, జస్ట్ లిప్ సర్వీస్, జస్ట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సూపర్ఫిషియల్, అరే నేను ఇది పాస్ అయితే చాలు, ఇంత చాలు అనుకున్నాడు, అలాగే ఉంటాడు. He will never be able to go ahead. For which one needs to put lots of effort, willingly, smilingly, lovingly. The moment he is able to do, మీరు ఏ మంత్రమైనా చెప్పండి, అది మీకు ఫలిస్తుంది. The mantra could be as simple as God, I love you. Enough. Because language is not the barrier. Let me tell you once again, because one of the things what Dilbu Garu raised is this, that language could be a barrier. No. For the universal consciousness, language is not the barrier because it understands. For love, there is no language. You touch the person with complete love, the other person knows that he is loving. You touch him with anger, the other person knows that you're touching with anger. Same is the case with the universal consciousness. You touch him with love, it knows that you are touching with love. It will respond back. This I'm sharing with experiences. Huh? I'm not giving any kind of a bookish knowledge, because like Barla said, we are not from books, general reading of the books and Vedas. No, no. We come from experiences. Experience is the key. And what Kena Upanishad also dares one to go is ask the questions. Ask the questions. Why is it that I am not able to connect with Lord? Ask. What is the kind of a knowledge that I need to gain such that I'll be able to do it? What are the kind of practices that I need to do in my daily life such that I'll be able to connect? Therefore, you need a properly designated, experienced guru, a master. You need that. The moment we have it, I think the journey starts in the direction. You will be able to transcend, you will be able to experience the form of the universal consciousness, what you want to get in connect with. So the key is fall in love, bring your awareness to the kind of thing what you want to achieve. That's the key. That's my take on that. So any further questions, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, I'm
Yeah,
Ganeshan.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear?
Yes.
We can.
Yeah. What is the nature of Brahman as per Kena Upanishad?
May I answer?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, he has no nature.
Okay.
He is indescribable. He has no end. You cannot capture and figure out and describe in your language that this is Brahman. Therefore, any literature which is trying to explain in English, Hindi, Telugu, or any other language, because language is confined to this physical world, for you and me, he won't understand this language. Therefore, he is indescribable.
Okay.
He has no form, because you will describe only when there are physical parameters that you would set in and say that this is what it is like. But he doesn't have any of those features. He is formless, nirguna. He has no gunas. He has no vasanas. Therefore, there's no question of describing him. He is beyond our capacity. We just cannot. We only have to experience those thoughtlessness, which Niranjan Garu has explained beautifully with his life examples, and that is the only way. Because man is only one living organism out of crores and billions of organisms in this universe. They have no language. There is no language between the trees and between the birds which are flying, but they are flying so beautifully in a concert. So that experiential living, that experiential connect is what we have to practice, and it is possible to do those things like the child understands Amma. It is possible to do those things the more we detach from this physical and then get into the metaphysical and understand the theosophy, read books of Jiddu Krishnamurti and so on. There's a lot of work we need to do. It's not so simple. Otherwise, these vasanas, these egos, physical aspect that we have will keep on bringing you back. It happens. We shuttle to and fro into that world and this world. But somewhere you transgress more into that world, you are liberated. You are going in that direction. That is inward journey. Thank you very much, sir. I am done. Over to you, Niranjan.
Add one point here. Actually,
Then while we are doing meditation.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
For a while.
Now, while we are doing meditation, we want to get the God in our itself. Okay. It is by Kena Upanishad or some other Upanishad.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, what happens is, see, when you are meditating, you're trying to transcend the mind. So, there is no separation between you and anything else. There is no two persons there. Everything, you are all pervasive. You are like Barla Garu said that we are it is, there is no form, there is no beginning, there is no end. So we are spread all over. There is only one entity. So it is like we become the God. So like we say, Aham Brahmasmi. It's like I am all pervasive. I am everywhere. I mean, that's the concept of true sustainability as we should be practicing today. That if I feel that everything is me, I'm not going to harm anybody. The tree is me, the rock is me, the nature is me, everything is me. So that means that I'm not going to harm anything. I'm not going to harm the other animals. I'm not going to harm the trees. I'm not going to harm the rocks. I'm not going to harm anyone, because harming them is harming myself. That's the connection. Now, what is happening here is that the way our mind is conditioned, we get so attached with the layers which we have added. So as we are born, that sense of me is not there. Now we keep on, if you take the example of an onion, now you keep on adding those layers after layers after layers after layers of your education, of your experiences, of your behaviors, others' behaviors, and so on and so forth. So the knowledge keeps. Now what we need to do in meditation is to remove those layers one by one. Drop those layers. I'm not saying those layers can be removed, but you have to ignore those layers. And you reach to the crux in the middle. Now that core is what you are, So the feeling of who am I? I am this person. I am Dilip, or I am the general manager of a company, or I am an educated IIT educated person, or I am an IIM educated person. These are all layers. Now our identification of the real me, of the real self with these layers is so strong that we start thinking. It is like I'm driving in a car and I start thinking that the car is me. So that identification is so strong that I start thinking that the layers are me, which is not the truth actually. The reality is that it's like Jesus has said that if you have childlike innocence, you are welcome into my world, into my kingdom. So what he meant by that, you drop all those layers, you become like a child again. You should have childlike innocence. Then you are welcome into my world. Drop all those layers and come to me. Come with your core. So when you go into his kingdom, or you go into this Brahman, that means there is no separation. I am the God at that point in time. There is no two beings, Now, if we all as a mass, as a set of people, all the entire population of the world, if we all meditate at the same time, and we all transcend at the same time, you won't see that is Barla Garu, that is Rao Garu, that is Venkat Garu. No, it is all one. There is no end, there is no start. The concept of space and time is created by man. And that is because mind is very analytical tool. Mind wants to dissect. Mind wants to know more and more about things. But the real meditation is not knowing more. The real meditation is dropping whatever you know. And you get to the basic. You get to the core of everything. And you forget about, or you start ignoring whatever you have known. So you drop the knowledge and come to the basic core. That is what the real meditation is. And transcending that, once you drop all this, means it.
It's a natural phenomenon.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mike.
Natural phenomenon.
That is spiritual wisdom. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even see, all Vedas